Hello and welcome to Enter their Nerdosphere. This week, we're doing a special E3 Roundup edition of our podcast because while we mostly talk about television shows, and movies that have to do with superheroes and that kind of thing, we do love video games, and we don't discuss them as much as we'd like. So,
what better time to start discussions than the E3. Best time of the year, E3.
So, we're going to have a mini episode dedicated to each of the 5 major press conferences coming out of E3. This mini episode is going to be EA-centric. So, from EA's press conference, we're going to talk about the best games that came out of it and what we're looking forward to. So, let's go.
And in general, just the conferences in general.
Yep. So to start us off, the EA press conference was typical EA's press conference. It was boring.
It's so dry.
They brought out like a couple famous people,
sports people,
did like terrible. One thing they did do really cool this year though was they had that whole area where they brought in streamers
to like play the games.
to like play Battlefront live, and that was awesome. I really like that.
Yeah, because usually the gameplay that we get to see on the show, or not on the show floor, but during the conference it's a pre-polished run through. So it was cool to see a match happening live and see just how the game is working out right now, and especially compared to the previous game.
Yeah,
it's cool.
So the first big thing that caught our eye was the Battlefield DLC coming out, which looks really cool. That's one game that I didn't quite get into because I was still really into Destiny and didn't know if I would have time for it. So I didn't end up buying it, but man, I loved the beta. It was so much fun, and I really enjoy watching people play it.
While we're on this topic, and while I have you here, it is a part of the E3 sale, and it's like $20.
Is it? I may have to.
And I was thinking about it. I have like 3 games that are in my maybe column of like the sale ends on the 20th, so on Tuesday. But if it's something that you think that you'll play, then I will for sure buy it because I don't want to just play it by myself. But it's something Tsar. It's like Rise of the Tsar. The Battlefield 1 obviously takes place during World War One, and DICE has done a great job with this Battlefield in particular. It looks beautiful. It plays well. It has such a diverse combat system.
Hasn't been plagued with a lot of the glitches and issues that Battlefield 4 suffered from. So.
Right.
But yeah, it looks really cool. New nighttime maps, a bunch of just in general new maps. A new game mode that's smaller and more streamlined. Because a lot of people were clamoring for a smaller experience instead of the big battle all the time.
Right. For those who care about, I don't. EA obviously is mainly known for their sports games like Madden and FIFA and the NHL stuff. Their new Madden game has a campaign mode, which I guess is cool.
It has an actual story that actually looked intriguing.
You're like, so, some kid from like the countryside and making it big and gets scout or whatever, and you play as him throughout the Major League, whatever. The FIFA game is a little bit more involved, and they're amping up their like digital World Cup. I guess either it's become less of a focus for them over the past couple of years, or it's been non-existent for a couple of years. Again, this is a subculture that I am not a part of at all because I don't like sports games, but they really wanted to drive home the point that FIFA World Cup is coming back.
I've always really enjoyed the FIFA games, but I haven't owned one since I think
GameCube.
08, FIFA 8, FIFA 08 probably was the last one I bought. So
yeah.
They're
entertaining. It's
the
just I don't
third
want to drop the
Preston brother that you
it.
have not met yet, audience. Used to be real into FIFA, and probably based on what we saw from that game, he may be again.
Yeah. So the next game that really caught our eye, mainly just because of its functionality, is a game called A Way Out. It's from the same developers who made the game A Brother's Tale. And so the game is about these 2 gents who get thrown into jail, and it's exclusively a co-op game. and it's designed to be played with your friend like on the couch. And you each play as one of the characters, a split screen the whole time. You're seeing each person's perspectives, which means that sometimes one character is in a cutscene and the other character can move around and is kind of exploring what's happening in that cutscene from like in the world, if that makes any sense. And so you also have to collaborate together to get through puzzles. You can go at puzzles in various ways based on each character's personality type. I don't know. It's not a game that I necessarily am going to buy, but I was like, I appreciate a AAA game coming out with such a focus on co-op, because that is something that has been lackluster in games as of late and is entertaining whenever the option is there.
Yeah. Then, of course, we have the big mama.
The big mama.
Battlefront 2. Which looks really, really good. They're putting back in a lot of the aspects that they took out that made the original really good, like different classes for like so every time you die, you can pick a different class of trooper or soldier. The heroes look really cool. Darth Maul's gameplay was just like, dang.
And they're allowing a more customization, not just for the soldiers, but for the heroes. So you get to customize your hero as far as abilities go and what perks you want to have. So you can play how you want to play that character. They've also changed the system on how all of that works. So obviously, Battlefront 1 by DICE, the way that you use heroes and the way that you use vehicles was that you had to find coins located on the map, which obviously was a huge step back for those who have been playing in the Battlefront franchise, because it kind of took you out. It's still not going to be as fluid as the original Battlefront games were, but the way it's going to work this time is that you earn in-game experience during a match, and you can use those points to either summon your hero or summon a vehicle. So multiple people can be heroes at the same time, so you don't feel like you're missing out. It's basically like every person can have whatever experience they want in the match. So that's kind of cool. The maps are definitely a lot larger. They're promising larger dogfight maps, but even on the maps where there's boots on the ground, whenever you have the option of flying, you can really tell they've lifted the ceiling up more. So those who are choosing to dogfight above the city really have a little bit more, a little more freedom of where they're flying around. Because that was one of my other gripes, is when you had the boots to the ground maps and you chose to go into an A-wing or something, you really didn't have a whole lot to do other than hover above the ground.
Yeah. Of course, this one has a campaign, which looks really good. It follows the Stormtroopers story right after the Battle of Endor, I believe. And,
yeah, it bridges the gap between
the end of Endor and Episode 7. Which is cool, because the last one was just multiplayer. And if the story is really good, I think that'll be cool. One thing that I still, and maybe we'll slowly get back to it in Battlefront 3, but I don't think I'm really going to fully enjoy a Battlefront game until we get back to what we had originally with the original Battlefronts. So I want to be able to get in a ship, fly up into space, fight, get in a big cruiser, destroy it from the inside, get back in a ship, fly out. Like, I just want to be able to do that stuff again.
I agree.
Like, I don't. The game is beautiful, but I'd almost rather it not be quite as beautiful and be able to fly up into space and have huge dogfights and stuff out in space.
No, I agree. And it's actually kind of funny. I was watching, Kind of Funny was doing a debate with one of the guys from a podcast show called Easy Allies. And they were talking about which press conference was the best when they were talking about EA. They're talking about Tim Gage was like, isn't it great that they found as a campaign? He goes, see, that's where they got you. They come out here, blowing big guns and blowing all this smoke about how great this next game is because as a campaign, when in actuality, they should have had that in the first one. So they're still playing catch up. Like, I'm excited for what I saw, but you still have a lot to prove.
Yeah.
Because this should have been there from the get-go.
Yeah. It should have been there from the get-go, and they should... So basically, this game should have probably been Battlefront 1.
Exactly.
And then we should have been building on what was going to be this game to bring us back to the point where we all are, feeling the Battlefront nostalgia, being able to fly around wherever we want and stuff, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's everything out of EA, at least for us. So, stay tuned for our other mini episodes. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you liked most coming out of the EA side of things, and we will see you in the next one.